Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm all right. Where are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent.
Good.
Michael, I've already added the link to the YouTube video onto your ECR page. So for the
Okay.
attendees that are listening, if people are battling to attend via Zoom, they can please just click on the YouTube link and it'll take them straight to the live YouTube stream.
Okay. Warwick, Prabith is presenting this lesson.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Has she not logged in yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So on the other end, if someone asks a question, can you promote them or something like that?
Yes, I can. So for the attendees that are listening, if you have heard this speech before, I do apologize. But if you have any questions and you don't want to type them out in the Q&A or within the chats, please feel free to raise your hand and I'll promote you to a panelist so you can ask your question. Once your question has been asked, I will obviously promote you or demote you back to an attendee.
Okay. I see we've got 12 participants so far.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, but we're not live yet.
We're live.
Okay. Okay.
We're currently very, very live.
Just wait. All right. Just waiting for Prabitha because I know she said she's going to deliver this lesson today.
Okay. I've just resent her an invite just in case.
Okay.
I mean, the session only starts really in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Michael, what I'll do is I'll just repeat the information to Prabitha when she arrives. What I do is I sit on the YouTube channel watching for questions for anyone that is attending there. And if I see a question, I'll either send you a message to say, can we please ask the question? Or do you guys want to wait for questions till the very end? And we go that route.
Not a problem.
Michael, would you just like to try maybe phone Prabitha just to see if everything's okay? Good morning, Prabitha.
Good morning. Is that Warwick?
Yes, it is.
How's it, Warwick? How are you?
I'm okay, and yourself, Prabitha?
Okay. Oh, we have 22 participants already.
And that is on Zoom, and currently we have 5 on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. So, Prabitha, I just spoke to Michael just now, and I'll just repeat it for you as well. So,
Yeah.
I'll be sitting and watching YouTube in case there are any questions there. If you want, we can hold questions off till the very end, and then we
Okay.
do an Q&A session.
Yeah.
And about 5 to 10 minutes before the session ends, I'll just come on and just let you know your time frame that you have left.
Okay.
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 And as I said to the students just now, if anyone wants to ask a question, they just have to raise their hand if they are on Zoom, and I'll promote them to a panelist. They can ask their question, and then I'll demote them to an attendee again.
Okay.
All right.
And so I need to share my screen because I have a PowerPoint.
That's fine. Let me stop sharing mine for you. There we go. Okay, Prabitha, the floor is yours. I'm going to mute myself. If you need anything, please let me know.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? Michael, can you hear me?
Prabitha, Michael's not here. I'm here. Your students are sending messages via the chats to say that they can all hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just worried about that. So everything's fine. Can I just proceed?
You can proceed as per normal, as if it was a normal Zoom meeting.
Yes.
Obviously, you won't be seeing the other people who are attending.
Yes. And what happens if, we finish the session a little early? Is that fine?
That's fine. Then we just move straight into Q&As if there are any.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this RES400 Research Design and Methods lecture. Okay, you all are familiar with me. I don't have to introduce myself. And I'm glad that I have so many participants. And I know that it's the foundation phase and the IP group that's all in this lecture today. Okay. And firstly, I must say thank you to all of you that submitted your assignments on time. And some of you, just by browsing through your literature review assignments, I have gathered that some of you have worked very hard. You did a whole lot of reading that was required, and you produced some very good work just by browsing at some of the assignments that have come in. Okay, so let's just get on to today's lecture. Okay, let's just recap, okay? Okay, let's just recap on what we have learned so far. Now, you have chosen a topic, okay? And all of you have worked on that topic. We have revised it. And some of you have restructured your topic, and now you have more focus. So then we will look at, then we looked at the literature review, okay? So you all have submitted your literature review assignments. You know what a literature review is about, and how hard some of you have worked in that literature review. Now, from the literature review, we go to our research design and methods, okay? And just look at the aims of this research and design lecture. It's for you to better understand quantitative and qualitative methods. Firstly, let me ask some of you, is anybody familiar with quantitative and qualitative methods? Have you heard this before? okay, to understand the characteristics of both types of data, to think about ethical considerations, and create links to your own project. So as we go on, and as we're discussing every aspect of the research and design, think of your own topic. Ask yourself questions in your heads. You know, how does this apply to my topic? What question must I ask regarding my topic? Okay. And that's the only way you're going to find answers for your next assignment, which is a research proposal. Okay, and then let's go back. Okay, let's start at the beginning again, just to remind you and to refresh your memories on what we have done so far. So what is research? Okay, we all know research is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information or data in order to increase our understanding of a phenomenon about which we are interested or concerned. Okay, that's Leedy and Nimrod 2010. Okay, so that's the definition of research. Now, you all are aware of what you are researching. Your topic has all been confirmed. You're all familiar with your topic. You have also researched on what has been done on the topic, what research you have found, what information has been said about your topic, what other authors have written about the topic, okay? Whatever's been discussed, whatever's been agreed and disagreed about your topic, okay? So you have a whole lot of information. For example, if your topic was on nutrition, but now you should have a clear definition of what nutrition is and what it is about nutrition that you are going to be researching, okay? So that is why I say, as we go along, please think of your own research topic and how we are going to apply whatever we are discussing to your topic, okay? Now, how do I begin my research study? Now, you've already started your research study. You've already formulated your topic. You've already done a literature review, okay? So from there, where to from there? What design I'm going to be using? What are the next steps? Once you have decided on an area of focus. Now remember, the lecture that we had was to structure your topic, to get it more focused, okay? To narrow down your topic to a manageable research topic, which means that you got to take one aspect. For example, I'm going to use nutrition again, and now you are using nutrition in the foundation phase. So your focus is nutrition, foundation phase learners, and student teachers' views on nutrition. That's your focus. If you're taking ADHD, your definition of ADHD, that's your focus. What is ADHD? ADHD in the foundation phase or the intermediate phase, depends which you are researching, okay? And ADHD learners, okay? And what are the views of student teachers or what are the views on ADHD? That's the main focus, okay? Nothing else. If you go any broader, you're going to confuse your whole research, you're going to widen your topic, and you're going to look elsewhere but your own topic, okay? So just be very careful when you are looking at your topic. Look at it very narrowly. Look at in a very focused way, okay? So to a more manageable topic, review the literature and gathered information. You have to link to how to design the next steps. So what are the next steps? Let's just look at it. Okay, please raise your hand if you feel you don't understand. You want to ask a question in between, or if you feel I'm going too fast, because I tend to talk a bit fast, okay? So this means, how will you carry out the research? How will you do it? What methods will you use? What time frames will you work with? Okay, so obviously when you look at time frames, you are IP and FP students. and this is your last year at Embry on campus, okay? Right, so so let's just go back, okay? So you have limited time frames. For example, your collecting of your data, okay? It's within certain time frame. Thinking of your methods and using your methods and designing your research, it needs certain time frames, okay? To write your proposal and think about your proposal, it needs time frames, okay? So that is why time frames in terms of your research is very, very important. You have to be organized, okay? Right, but first, in order to do this, you need a clear research question. Your research topic must be converted into a research question, okay? For example, you're looking at student teachers' knowledge of nutrition in the intermediate phase. How would you change that to a question? How would you convert it into a question? What is the knowledge of student teachers in terms of nutrition? That will be your question. Okay, so basically that's your question. So how are we going to find out what is the knowledge of student teachers in the IP or the foundation phase? That will depend on what your research, on the context of your research, whether you are researching foundation phase nutrition in the foundation phase, or you are researching nutrition in the intermediate phase. Now, again, think of the focus. You got to be focused. You can't just say broadly nutrition. Where? Which learners? Okay? Which students? Okay. Then we look at what are the options in terms of methods. Research design means making a decision on what methods will best suit your project. That is how you will collect your data. Quantitative and qualitative research designs and methods. Now, there's two types of data that we have. We have qualitative and we have quantitative, okay? So you're going to decide after you have listened to this whole lecture and we've gone through all the slides in this PowerPoint, you're going to decide which is the best method, which is the best design for your research, okay? And your research project lends itself to both as well as mixed methods. So what that means is your research could be a qualitative research or a quantitative research, okay? Or probably it could be both. If it's both, then it's mixed methods research. Okay, so as I said, listen very carefully. At the end of this lecture or at the last slide of this PowerPoint, you will be able to gather whether you're using a qualitative method, using a quantitative method, or you're using a mixed methods, which is both. Okay, so I hope you understand me thus far, but as I have said, please put up your hand if you need to ask a question. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at quantitative. Okay, now I've got page 3. So if you look at your textbook, this is in your textbook. Quantitative research is discussed, and it's discussed very extensively in your textbook, and you get a whole lot of information on quantitative data. Okay, so quantitative data is numerical data, questionnaires, surveys, generalized results. It's concerned with discovery of general laws. Okay, so we will discuss that in detail, okay, in a while. And then we have qualitative, and that's on page 10 of your textbook, which is textual data. That's words, interviews, observations, context-specific findings, okay, which means context-specific findings. For example, your specific context will be foundation phase, or it will be intermediate phase, okay, and concerned with uniqueness of each particular situation. So each of your research is different. Each of your topic is different. That's what makes it unique, okay? and in different situations, okay, in a unique situation. Now remember, I may sound very boring, but research is very, very interesting. I know you must have had a bad start with your literature reviews in terms of finding, going online and trying to access data online, and you're having a problem with, with the Wi-Fi and things. But as you go along, you will find that research becomes so interesting, okay? And you will love that idea of interviewing, of administering your questionnaires out to your participants, or observing your participants. Okay, so it's absolutely interesting. It depends how you comprehend, what you comprehend, how you understand research. But my task is to make your research as interesting and likable as possible, okay, for you. So we're still at qualitative data, and we're still looking at quantitative and qualitative data, okay, and we're looking at qualitative methods and quantitative methods. As I've said, that by the end of the discussion, you will decide whether your research is going to be a qualitative one or it's going to be a quantitative one, okay? So let's look at qualitative. Methods includes focus groups, in-depth interviews, and reviews of documents for types of themes, okay? I'm just going to go on to the next slide, because here is when to use each method. This is a better one, okay? So you're either going to do a qualitative research again, or quantitative research, or you will be doing both. Your research may include both qualitative and quantitative, okay? Now, develop qualitative research. You use qualitative research to develop an initial understanding of an issue or a problem, which is, you thought about nutrition, okay? Look for a range of ideas and feelings about something, okay? So what are your ideas? What are your feelings? What are you looking about nutrition? Understand different perspectives between groups and categories of people. So you're going to understand what the knowledge is, or look at what are the views of student teachers in terms of nutrition. Okay, so you're looking at student teachers, and you're looking at foundation phase, okay, or intermediate phase. Uncover underlying motivations and factors that influence decision-making and opinions, okay? So basically, uncover underlying motivations why you are going to be, looking at nutrition, okay? Okay, and what influences your decisions or making those kind of opinions. Provide information needed to design a quantitative study, okay? Explain findings from a quantitative study. Okay, so now let's listen. Now, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative straight away tells you it's words, it's a quality, it's what kind of information. Okay, quantity is how much of information. So generally, quantitative research is generally used in larger studies. For example, if you look at HIV/AIDS, you're looking at how many people in South Africa are infected with the HIV/AIDS virus, or how many people in KZN already have been diagnosed with COVID-19. That's a quantitative study, because we look at quantity. It takes a lot of time. There's a whole lot of measurement, okay? But you're looking at qualitative. It's the information that you are getting from your observation, from questionnaires, and from focus group discussions. You're getting quality of the information, or not only getting numbers. But sometimes you may also realize that your research has both qualitative and quantitative. For example, if you're looking at nutrition, how many of your student teachers have basic knowledge on nutrition in the foundation phase? or how many student teachers that you have interviewed have knowledge and understanding of the importance of nutrition. Can you see? So sometimes you may have a graph or some kind of bar graph or pie graph representing your information in your research, which is made up of qualitative research and quantitative. So that is why I would think that majority of your research that you are doing will lean onto the qualitative research, but it will be mixed methods. You know, it will have both quantitative and qualitative, so which means mixed methods. So I have to see the mixed methods when you are writing, okay? And you got to justify basically why you feel that it is a mixed methods approach, or why is it just a qualitative research, or why you are using quantitative research, okay? So quantitative research, use quantitative research to recommend a final course of action, okay? Find whether there is a consensus on a particular issue, project results to a larger population, as I said, okay? So now you are doing a very small scale research, okay? Based on student teachers' views, okay? So identify evidence regarding cause and effect relationship, describe characteristics of relevant groups of people, test specific hypotheses and examine specific relationships, identify and size market segments. Now, just by having this little discussion on qualitative research and quantitative research, and I told you about what mixed methods is there anybody can tell me at this stage, what do you think your research will be? Which design will you use? Come, I'm waiting. Nobody.
Warwick, are there any raised hands?
There's no raised hands. There's nothing in the Q&A section. There's nothing in the chats on Zoom, and there's nothing on YouTube.
Oh my God. Okay. But let's go on. Okay. Maybe by the end of the session, you will be, you will give me an answer. Okay. So recommendations for your project. So what should you do? Due to your limitations. Okay. What are your limitations of not having your own classroom in terms of practicality? It is recommended that you select your methods from the table, which I will provide to you. Okay, you will need to justify what approach. As I said, we're speaking about qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. You will take as well as provide a justification for the method that you will be using. So basically, if you choose qualitative, you got to say why. Okay, now that you know what is qualitative and where you should use it and how you should use it. Or if using quantitative, justify. You need to say why quantitative. Now that you know where quantitative is used, quantitative design is used in what kinds of study. Okay, I gave you examples. Okay, and if it's mixed methods, then you also got to say what is mixed methods and why you're using the mixed methods approach and how did you arrive at that. So arrive at that. So basically, you have to justify. That is what your research is about. Okay. Now, remember when we speak about this justification, you go back to your literature review and you look at some of the authors who agree and who disagree, and they'll tell you why they agree and why they disagree. Okay? So let's look at quantitative. Avoid quantitative designs due to limitations in time and sample size. As I've told you again, that your sample size is very limited. You are not looking at hundreds and thousands of student teachers. You are looking at 10 student teachers probably, okay, on campus at Emory. So that's very limited. The sample size is very small. The scale of your project, which means generalizability, will be compromised, okay? So basically, it's a very small scale study, as I've mentioned earlier. It's a small scale study that you are conducting in your very relevant or very own context. Okay. Document content analysis of documents such as your lesson plans, reflections, marks, learner books. Now, these are the things that you will use to collect your information, right? Whether it's quantitative data or whether it's qualitative data. Observations of lessons, classrooms, okay, checklist, and structured interviews, closed questions, okay, questionnaires. So as you go along and as you read, now this is a very simplified PowerPoint on the research design. You have to go back and read your textbook. Okay, and read the chapters on quantitative data and read the other information on qualitative data to get a better understanding. Now, I have just sifted through the most important aspects that I needed to discuss to you because of time constraints. Okay?
Sorry, Pravitha?
Yes.
Going back to your question earlier, when you asked students to give you information whether something was qualitative or quantitative,
Yes.
On YouTube, we got a response from the spoiled girl. I have no idea who that is. She said it's qualitative and goes on to say our topic is homework.
Oh, very good. Excellent. I'm glad. But she needs to justify why qualitative. Can she justify now?
Okay. I'm just going to wait for her to see if there is a response. If I do get a response, I'll let you know. There is, however, a delayed response from YouTube to from Zoom to YouTube, but I see here the spoiled girl has commented, "This is my group topic: student teachers perceptions on homework. I think
Yes.
ours will fall under qualitative. Will that be correct?"
Yes. Very good. Okay.
I did see somebody raise their hand, but I see they've dropped their hand again.
Okay. Okay, so let's just move on. Okay, I like that. So I know students are paying attention and they're listening. Now, this is a very important part of your research. Okay, you have to gather and you have to know exactly, as I said, what is qualitative, what is quantitative, and your justification for your research. Okay. And then we go on to qualitative. Use this due to the small scale of your project, as you know, I'm telling you this again, and the subjective nature of your research. Subjective means, you know what, there's no, you know, there's no right or wrong answer about your research. You know, it's subjective. It could be right, it could be wrong. It's your view, basically. Okay? Semi-structured interviews, well, you can use semi-structured interviews. We will go, I will, maybe in your next lecture, we can discuss the different kinds of instruments that you could use to collect your data. Now, semi-structured interviews are one of the ways that you could collect your data from your participants. Now, if you fully understand and you know by this stage that your participants are those that you will be collecting your information from. For example, if you're looking at nutrition and you want to know what is student teachers' views on nutrition in the foundation phase. So you are going to design a semi-structured you know, interview for student teachers with open questions, okay? To gather as much data as you can for your on your topic. And then you can have reflective journals, lesson reflections. Well, this won't apply to you here. Focus groups will apply, okay? Because you can, if you're looking at, for example, 15 foundation phase student teachers, you can interview them in groups, or you can have a focus group discussion with 5 teachers at a time. That's what we call a focus group, okay? You take those 5 teachers and you have a group discussion on your topic, which is nutrition, okay? And then you take the other 5, maybe at a different time, and you have a discussion and you record those discussions. That is how you get information, okay, on what you are looking for. For example, now we're talking about nutrition. I'm using that as an example. So, and in a focus group discussion, it's very easy to get information because you're not talking to one person on a one-to-one basis where they're scared to tell you something, or if they have information, they won't feel free. But when you are in a group, you find your participants will feel more free to say whatever they want to say. In that way, you're going to be collecting very rich data on your topic. Okay? Then we got observations of lessons or classroom. Now, you are not using classroom observations at all. Okay? You are not observing learners in the classroom. Probably you are observing the behavior of student teachers with regards to what is their attitudes towards behavior in the classroom. Okay? That's observation. When you're observing student teachers. Okay? Or you're observing their body language when you talk about behavior in the foundation phase. Okay? So you decide now, as soon as you decide whether it's a qualitative or quantitative research, then you decide what kind of instruments are you going to be using. Now, the instruments will be discussed separately in another lecture, and how you design those instruments to collect your data regarding your topic. That's another lecture on its own, okay? And I think Michael will be doing that with you all. Okay, so, so that's where you will gather exactly which instrument you will be using. You can use questionnaires, you can use focus group discussion, you can use semi-structured interviews, but you will be limited to only two instruments, okay? You can either use a focus group discussion, or you can use semi-structured interviews, or you can use questionnaires. When you have too many, it's good to have many. I'll tell you why in my coming slides, but you have to have more than one. I will tell you why you need more than one, okay? Then we go on to commenting on reliability and accuracy. This is exactly why I told you why you need to use more than one instrument to collect your data. Because how are you going to know whether it's accurate, the information that you're getting is reliable, it's accurate, and it's valid? Sometimes you will realize that, you know what, this group of teachers said, knew a whole lot of information on the importance of nutrition, and they gave you the same information, okay? And separately in another group from the questionnaires, you have gathered the same kind of information. So what does it tell you? It's reliable, probably it's valid, because two groups are saying it. Of 15 people, 15 of your participants have said the same thing. That makes it accurate, that makes it reliable, that makes it valid. So in terms of validity, reliability, and accuracy, you have to have more than one data collection technique, okay? That is your instrument. Okay, so in your heads now, remember that I've told you concentrate on focus groups and concentrate on semi-structured interviews, or concentrate on questionnaires. And that also will depend on what kind of information that you want, what kind of information that you are looking for, and it will also depend on the topic, on your topic, okay, and who your participants are. But in majority of your cases, because of limitations, you're limited to Embry, so majority of your participants will either be the lecturers at Embry, Stadia School of Education, or it can be the students. Or probably it could be the cleaners at Embry. If you are researching hygiene, now that it's COVID-19, and your topic is the coronavirus, so there must be some kind of information that you're looking at regarding hygiene in the foundation phase. So probably you'll want to interview the cleaners on our campus? What is their view of hygiene, and what kind of hygiene practices should be in the foundation phase? You know, those kind of things. So in other words, I'm just trying to tell you here how you are going to look for reliability, accuracy, validity of the information that you are going to be collecting. So you have to use more than 2 instruments, okay?
Prabitha?
Yes?
Just to let you know, you've got 4 minutes left of the session. And then I see Ahmed Khan posted a message nearly 5 minutes ago. He states the topic is respect in school, in the school environment and student teachers experiences. Will be qualitative as we are looking for underlying reasons and aiming to gain knowledge on the topic rather than numerical data.
Yes, good.
Very
excellent. Good. Very, very good. So
right.
basically, you know what that tells me is that students are understanding what I'm telling them, which is very, very good. Okay. So triangulation, how are you going to try? You have to use, you have to triangulate. Okay. For example, now we're still at reliability and accuracy and validity. So we're looking at Susan, interview with Susan's questionnaire response, and we're looking at observations of Susan. Can you see how you're going to triangulate the information? Okay. And how you're going to look for valid information, or accurate or reliable information. You get reliable information when you triangulate with different kinds of, I mean, at least 2 kinds of, or 3 kinds of instruments. Okay, so here we're looking at one instrument was the interview, the other one was Susan's questionnaire, and the other one was observation. So you think about which one will be most likely to use in your research, okay? Oh, sorry. Then we got reliability and quantitative data. Well, I've gone through that already. Validity is very important in quantitative data. The key question to ask is, are the data appropriate and accurate for purpose that they are collected for, as I just spoke to you, right? Reliability refers to the consistency of data collected. For example, 3 different witnesses' accounts of what happened in a car incident. So in other words, we spoke about, you know, Susan. Okay. So from those 3 data collection instruments, you can gather whether whatever's being said is reliable, okay, or valid. Okay. And then looking at your project, I told you about converting your statement to a research question. And then begin thinking about your research design. Okay, I'll leave you to answer all these questions on your own. Okay, and then we got ethical considerations. As your research is dealing with human beings who think, feel, and experience distress, it's important to consider the ethical implications of your research. Ethical means that you have to have, you know, you have to have respect for your for whoever. You have to have consent. You have to get the consent. You can't just take anyone and start asking them questions. Okay, there's a certain amount of ethics that's involved in your research. For example, your respondents, or whatever information that you collect from your respondents or your participants, is that it has to be confidential. You cannot, you know, let that important information that you're collecting be just, you know, widely distributed, okay? And then we look at, we're still at ethical consideration, the right to privacy, voluntary participation, honesty, I spoke about, protection from harm, okay? You have to take care and worry about and look after your respondents, okay? And informed consent, we will discuss that further and more in detail as you go on in your research, okay? Voluntary participation, you cannot force anybody to participate in your research. For example, if you go to a lecturer on campus and say, ma'am, I need you to answer that questions, or I need you to be part of my focus group, and ma'am says no, she can't be for her own personal reasons, you cannot pursue the issue, okay? So she has a right.
Sorry, Prabitha.
Yes.
I need to cut you at this point in time because I need to get ready for the next session.
Okay, no worries, but we will go over this again. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Michael.
Thank you, Prabitha.
Hello,
Okay,
Prabitha.
bye.
Bye.